would be great before we go. I mean, I'm going to ask around the room now. Anthony, would you take Brendan Rodgers or Rafa Benitez, the two people we've done so far?
I'll take Rafa Benitez.
Okay.
He's won a Champions League with a few other teams. And I can't see Brendan Rodgers leaving, so he want to get Leicester as far as he can in Champions League next season.
Charlie, Charlie, what I was going to ask, same question to you. If you're an Arsenal fan, would you take Brendan Rodgers or would you take Leicester City?
If I was an Arsenal fan, I'm getting feedback, by the way.
Oh, I'm getting a bit of feedback there, Chris.
His mic's on mute, so I don't think.
Yeah, I was getting a bit of feedback on there. Let's see if that's better. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, Chris, welcome to the channel. First time on. That's great to have you on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've come into a WWE wrestling argument by the look of it.
Nah, this all look. We all get heated. We all get heated on these debates. Trust me, but we all respect each other's opinion in the end. So
did you see my jackhammer power bomb and the spear after that? No, it's just a Goldberg reference.
Let's just say it all gets heated, but we all respect each other's opinion. But yeah, Leicester City's point of view about Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, it's not the first time Arsenal have been linked to Brendan Rodgers whilst him being at Leicester or elsewhere. First of all, just to give us an insight about Brendan Rodgers as a manager, and if you're an Arsenal fan, for instance, would it be someone you'd be looking for?
For us, he's a very good manager. He's like any manager. He frustrates you at times. You know, we look at the Newcastle result on Friday, and you're pulling your hair out, and then you go out and play Man United and beat them 2-1. What he's good at, he's good at man management. You know, when you had 3 players went out to a party and broke COVID rules, he could have fined them. He could have, there's a few options for him. But like he said, what's the point of finding these players? The maximum he can find them is a drop in the ocean for them. And what he did was he just came out and said, they've done this, they've been naughty, they're not in my squad today. And, they had to take all the, criticism on social media and what have you. And that was it. And then the next game, they were back in. As a man manager, like I say, he's got the respect of the players. At the moment, he's got the respect of the fans. I don't blame you wanting him. I really, really don't. But then Spurs have wanted him. And this is Leicester, right? We know that if we have a good season, half of our players are going to be linked with. It happens every season. All our players are going to be linked with other teams, and we're going to be left with
when you won the league, and you were linked to Vardy, and we were linked to Vardy and Mahrez.
Yeah, I mean Vardy very nearly came, but
we decided he said we was going to play on the left. That's what Wenger said. He said we're playing him on the left, and you're going to have to like it or lump it. And he went, fine,
you've got to realise that what he'd just done was spend a season and a half or something under Roy Hodgson on the England team playing on the left. That's not his role. And, sometimes these players, you've got to remember where Vardy's come from, prefer to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond than, go to Arsenal, play out of position, not score goals, be dropped, and but no, like I say, at the moment, I can't see what you can offer him that we can't. And the other thing that you've got to watch with Brendan is that the way he left Celtic has a big bearing on his future, because he walked out on Celtic with 10 games to go. And I think that, for employment-wise, was a good thing to do, because he saw Leicester's players in 10 competitive Premier League games, and he would have learnt more about them in those 10 games than half a dozen pre-season friendlies against League One, League Two sides. So, but he's got that reputation now that he walks out on clubs. So if he leaves us too early, it's really not going to sort of help his reputation. But look, you know, he's got Leicester, who are a top 4 side at the moment. We finished 5th last season. He's got a batch of young players coming through that have come through the academy. He's got some great signings that are young players. And he's got one of the best training facilities in Europe. He gets on with the owners. The owners are probably the best. I mean, you know, you guys would love our owners. Any team would love our owners. We've got the best owners.
Definitely.
What it would the attraction been? I'm not going to be awful here, but I'm just saying as it is. And I'd say exactly the same to Spurs fans. What is the attraction for Brendan to go to Leicester?
Chris, can I just ask you one thing? So, do you agree with my comment that even Brendan Rodgers is a mercenary?
No.
Okay, and what would be the reason?
It is a very difficult. I mean, there's no other job where you can be sacked one week, get a big payoff, and then walk into another job the week after. But that said, he went to Celtic. That was his club. He wanted to go. He did everything that he could do at Celtic. He left them in good shape. Now, the fact that Neil Lennon and the club have messed it all up isn't his fault. You know, they got the treble even under Neil Lennon after he left. But his destination, he wanted to get back in the Premier League. Now, we know that Brendan Rodgers is a very ambitious manager. Any manager worth the salt's got to be ambitious. And he will move on eventually, we know, to a bigger club. Of course he will. But at the moment, what he's got at Leicester is a work in progress. And if this goes well for Leicester and Brendan Rodgers, he'll be able to go to a bigger club, you know, rather than an Arsenal and a Spurs or something like that. He could be looking at a PSG or somebody like that. So, no, I don't think he's a mercenary.
Because the last time he was in a Big Six, I remember using the Liverpool side, and after that one season, they had a challenging for the league. It also went downhill for Brendan Rodgers, hence why they got Klopp in. But I think that's probably because the fact they didn't have the players either. They really didn't have the player squad that they have now. I'd say, but I mean,
I think if you look at Liverpool, I mean Liverpool, a bit like sort of, you know, Chelsea, if you like. They haven't won anything for years, and they were changing managers, and you know, they were just desperate to win. Unfortunately, Rodgers at that time, that was his first big job. Let's be honest with you. You know, he'd come from Swansea, I think it was, to go to Liverpool. Yeah. You know, and it's a rebuilding task. You could argue, was he given long enough? And I said this to an Arsenal fan earlier. And I don't know about Arteta. I don't watch Arsenal week in, week out.
You don't want to
know. All I will say is, good point, probably. All I will say is that this is his first manager's job. So you've either got to, in fairness, get rid of him and don't give him millions to spend in the summer and then get rid of him, because that's just stupid. You see clubs do that all the time. Yeah. Or you stick with him and say, yeah, he is going to learn, he is going to make mistakes, but long term, you know, this will work out for the club, because all managers have to start somewhere.
See, the one thing that I want to just add, if I may, Stephen.
Go on.
Yeah, the one thing that I want to add is the reason I call Brendan Rodgers a mercenary is he had a good job at Celtic. Now, I don't disagree with him moving to Leicester, but leaving a club 10 games before the end of the season is something that a mercenary would probably do. I get it. Obviously, Leicester City fans. No, would you now? Just let me just one thing. Just one thing.
One at a time.
Chris, if suppose Brendan Rodgers leaves Leicester City 10 games before the end of a season, where Leicester can probably go into the top 4 again. I'm not saying this season could be that. They will definitely probably go into the top 4. But I'm saying if he does something where there is a 50-50 chance of Leicester going into the top 4, and Brendan Rodgers suddenly says that, okay, I got a bigger job offer and I'm leaving, would you then not feel the way that the Celtic fans felt, that we were in a good position? Yeah.
I'm not saying that the Celtic fans weren't peed off with him. Of course they were. And if he'd done that to Leicester, Of course I would be. But as an Arsenal fan, I presume you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
As an Arsenal fan, you know, you're not a Celtic fan. You're not a Leicester fan. You're just looking at it now. You know, you look at me. If I've got a job, and then somebody comes along, offers me a better job with more money, and they say we want you in 2 weeks, and my current job says, well, you're going to give 4 weeks notice. I'm sorry, I walk out and I go to the new job because it's a better job, better money. Why are managers any different to any other job? And then let's not forget, Celtic got quite a few million off us in compensation.
They did. I'm not denying it. But the only thing is that he left in between a season.
Because but hang on, this is not the whole point. This is not the whole point, right? I mean, either way, like it doesn't for me. It doesn't take away from what if Arsenal came to him and they said, "Look, we have fucked things up. Let's be honest, we fucked things up. We're not in Europe anymore, and we get that, but we're." Say Daniel Week, because I think this is all done because Cronkies have already said they're going to keep Arteta, right? So the only way we're going to get rid of this manager is by if Daniel Week comes in. Now this could happen over the summer. It could take even longer than that. We don't know. But if it did happen over the summer and Daniel Week came in and went, Arteta, don't even think about spending my money. Get lost. I ain't got that much money compared to the Cronkies that you can waste. Get lost.
What money?
They went to hang on. Brendan, and then Brendan Rodgers came in, and then they went to Brendan Rodgers, and they went, "Look, this club's fucked. We know this. We've just come in. I've got the backing of Bergkamp, Vieira, Henry, all these legends. We're going to put the right structure in. We're going to give you so much money to spend on your first season to try and rectify some of the problems with the squad. We're going to try and clear some of the squad out as well." Right, and then we can go again to try and challenge for a European place next season. Would that be a project that Brendan Rodgers wouldn't mind? It could be for me. I mean, obviously, I'm looking as an Arsenal fan, and I'm desperate for something else.
I mean. You know what? I'm a hell of a lot older than you guys, especially you, mate. You're young enough to be my son, so I can remember years and years ago, and Arsenal are probably the only team in the so-called big or greedy or top six, whatever you want to call them. Arsenal are probably the only team that have a right to say that they've been around that long. Because if you go back far enough back, Bolton were a big six club, Burnley were a big six club, Blackpool even with Stanley Matthews were a big six club in the day. So you've got to offer him something that Leicester can't. And I don't know what that is, because what you've said, you're offering is exactly what he's got at Leicester, but he's 2 years down the road in Leicester. So therefore the success is going to come to him quicker at Leicester than it is at Arsenal.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. It's well made, and
our recruitment is absolutely crap in terms of comparison with Leicester.
But I get that. That's why I was saying that we brought Daniel Week in. We got the right people in the right positions. Because let's be honest, Vinay and Edu, they can get lost. They're just about as bad at culpable as each other. And I mean, you said I mentioned about with Arteta, but Arsenal as a whole, it's the first time they're not going to be in Europe for 26 years. That's as long. That's my age. I've never seen Arsenal out of Europe in my right, and I've never said I had a God-given right to it. And that's why when this Super League came up, I was even considering not even supporting the club anymore, right? Because I couldn't bear it, and it's not acceptable. How can I look a Leicester fan in the eye and go, "No, you don't deserve to be in Europe"? We would have been lower, right? And even when we won the league, right, we bottled it, right? Same as Tottenham did, right?
You were the only club to beat us twice that season.
Yeah, but we bottled it. As simple as that. And you deserved to win that because you didn't, and you played really well that season. And
Thank you.
So, and I'd love to do a stream with you about that sometime. But
yeah, we will do. Yeah,
definitely. But what I was saying is that, where do you see that? What do you make of Arsenal at the minute? I mean, do you really see that as Arsenal as you would know it?
You see, I mean, I'm 60, right? Let's compare ages here. I'm 60, so I know I'm my youthful looks. I only look 30. I know you. I'll say it before you do, but no, I'm 60. So I've been around the block a few times now. I can remember Arsenal pre-Wenger. And don't get me wrong, I've seen you have the good years. I saw you have, the Invincibles. That was a great year. And then I've seen you win FA Cup. So when Wenger first came over, I actually admired Arsenal because I loved the way he had you playing. It was a pleasure as a neutral to watch you. But, I can remember the Arsenal before that, like I can remember the Chelsea before Abramovich. I can remember playing Manchester City in League One, when we were both in League One.
Yeah.
So I can remember back to those days. And like I've just said, it's all about timing. And I just think this isn't the right time for Brendan to jack what he's got at Leicester. I mean, the problem you've got is the same problem that a lot of clubs that are those top six that did this Super League have got, is attracting a manager. Because the guy's going to look at this, and I know a lot of managers are saying, well, I'm going to get, if you take me on and you sack me, I'm going to get more money if you sack me than in compensation, and I will in my wages. But generally speaking, they're going to look at that and thinking, can I work with this chairman? Is he going to give me what I'm going to ask for? Kroenke, he's fucked his own reputation up, really, hasn't he, with the way that he's handled all this? He hasn't come out, and I don't know if he has come out and spoken to you guys, or whether he sent a representative over or whatever.
He's got his son to do the dirty work.
Yeah. When was he last at an Arsenal game?
Never. Yeah, probably the FA Cup final in
probably when they bought the club. Probably when they bought the club.
No, it was. I think it was. No. It was. Yeah, I think it was the 2015 FA Cup final.
Yeah. Well, our owner was there against Newcastle in the rain with his mask on. It's his first game he's been able to be allowed to come and see, and he's done it all, and then he can come to the final on Sunday. Our manager is down the training, or our owner, sorry, is down the training field most days when he's over here. As was,
the amount of love that what your owner did, and God rest him.
Yeah.
For not just your club, your community. As well.
I always say he didn't buy a football club; he bought into the community, because that's what he did. And is Brendan Rodgers going to look at it and go, I've got a great relationship with these guys. They give me pay rises every now and again. They back me in the transfer market up to what I need. I've got this brand new £1 million, £1,800 million training facility that Harry Maguire's paid for. Am I going to leave that and go to a club where we don't see the chairman ever? That I'm probably not going to get money. I might have to sell players before I can bring anybody in. I might have to be looking at starting from scratch with maybe bringing 8 or 9 players in. I just don't see the attraction. And, you're going to have managers that are out of work, and that's a different story completely, But you're going to struggle, I think, to attract anybody, which is why I'm thinking you might be better. And I know you hate his guts, but it might be better just to give Arteta that bit longer. No, I didn't think you'd agree with me on that one. But as I say, I'm looking at it from the outside. That
semi-final? That's. I mean, do you know what's funny is that I watched more in 30 minutes than I watched than I missed in the last 78, because unfortunately, I was supposed to be doing the watch. I was supposed to be doing about 4 streams that I was supposed to be doing, right? And because I have to go to hospital every week on every Thursday, I got back. I thought I'd take a nap, and all of a sudden, I ended up missing 2 streams, waking up about 6. Thought, okay, I'll be up for the next game. Be up for the next stream, which will be the watch along. And then I woke up it weren't until about 9:30 that I woke up. So I missed completely the watch along and put it on for like the last went live for the last 20 minutes, right? And I saw more in that 13 minutes throughout the whole game than throughout that whole game, right? And you could look at every single pundit, every single person, fan, pundit, nearly everyone was saying, how could Arsenal play like that in a semi-final of a European competition? It was appalling. And to play two new systems that we've never played before in a semi-final, thinking you're Pep Guardiola, is just scandalous. It's just absolutely scandalous. And for me, look, I wanted him out since the first North London derby, but I'm sorry, that really just confirmed it to me. It confirmed it to me. Like, if that doesn't tell anyone he's not good enough, I don't know what will.
But Stephen, did you ask Chris the million dollar question, or should I ask him? Chris, back in the day, I have barely seen Arsenal since 1999, so I haven't seen too much of them in comparison to you. But do you think that if it was back in the day, a manager would be sacked within a season?
Okay, let me just say, I haven't watched Arsenal that much either, believe it or not.
But you must have seen Leicester.
Regarding managers, it's usually a season and a half. The job was more secure than it is now, because there's a lot more riding on it than there is now. We've got rid of managers. We went through a period after Ranieri when we were changing managers quite regularly. We had 3 or 4 managers in the same number of years. But yeah, if you go back, you probably gave managers more time. But like I say, if they got you relegated back in the day before the Premier League and all the deals, it wasn't so costly for the club. So managers probably were given more time simply because, I say, there wasn't such high risks involved.
Yeah, there's a lot more money in these now as well. A lot more. That's what they talk about. Cash is king. And I mean, you had instances like Lion Clough at Leeds that lasted about 40 odd days, or how many days it did last.
Yeah.
And
well, that in fairness, that was an exception rather than the rule,
Yeah. I mean, but obviously, of course, the trend was. I mean, that's why they saw it with Wenger when he left. That was the last sort of big serving manager that would last longer than 5 seasons or something like that. Because the new trend was, if you're not performing on a regular basis, right? They get chop and change, and I mean, and it's like I explained before. If you're looking at a results business that depends so much on money, right? And obviously, my second sport is obviously F1. If you were doing this in an F1, you would be gone straight away because you're costing not just everyone else, not just yourself, but you're costing the team money, because in the constructors, for example, their championship. Every single place is a lot of money, and every single place you fall down, you go from second to third to fourth. You're losing a hell of a lot of money every place you're going down. So if you're not performing on a regular basis and you're not helping the team get to as high as they can, you're gone. You're cut. They'll find someone else that's just as good, so they'll get rid of you. And
you've got to
business, but that's how it is.
In Formula One, you've only got 10 teams. Here, you've got 20. And we're in the same. If you finish 5th, you're £2 or £3 million worse off than 4th. That said, £2 million to a lot of these owners is pocket change.
Well, yeah, I mean, in F1 terms, there's a lot more money, and especially without the budget caps, and this is a lot more money. Lot more money.
Stephen, one last question from the journalist inside me, if I may ask Chris. Chris, were you supportive of the Ranieri sacking, or were you not? I wasn't, but I just want to know about your opinion, because I know, but I have been reporting football games for the last 10 odd years, so I thought that was very silly. But what is your take?
Okay, I was one of the few people that actually welcomed Ranieri when he first came here. And I'm saying that because of where I'm going to go with this conversation. You know, as you remember, when Ranieri got appointed, he was laughed out. You know, he was the favourite to go. He was laughed out. He was going to get us relegated, etc. He'd come from Greece, where, you know, he'd lost to the Faroe Islands, and, you know, they said, you know, this is the man that's never won the league. But the thing was, he'd come second, third, and fourth in leagues. And I said that for a club like Leicester, if we finish second, third, or fourth, that would be good enough. You know, we've got, you know, we're not a Man City, we're not a Chelsea or what have you. Remember, we only lost out at Chelsea in the league to the Invincibles of you, you know, your guys.
Yep.
And somehow he came in, and the miracle happened. We won the league. You know, I still don't know, you know, what happened, but we won the league. And what I was just saying about money and how much it costs if you drop out the league. When we sacked him, we were actually in the bottom three, or we were fourth from bottom. We were there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And you look at his signings, I think there's probably about 2 signings that are still with us out of all he, but, you know, the players he bought. His buy-in policy was rubbish. He went out, he'd won the league, he'd got all this money, and he went out and bought players that not particularly bad players, but he bought Slimani, who was a great header of the ball, but then he didn't play wing backs to get the ball into the box for him. He bought Musa, who was
Chelsea.
Okazaki.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
he bought Musa.
I would just say it's what he did. It's what he did in the Invincible season. Sorry, is that he had 120. He spent 128 million. I can remember it as a kid. 128 million is the first time.
Roman's money.
Well, yeah, of Roman's. Yeah, I know it's Roman's money, but what I'm saying is he spent 128 million in that season to get players like Crespo and loads of those players. And then in the end, we spent 18 million on a goalkeeper. We didn't actually buy anyone outfield at all, and we ended up winning the league by the Invincibles and not losing a game. Yeah, I'd rather have beaten Chelsea I'd rather have lost to Chelsea in a league game, right? So we meant it won that game because we won them 4 out of 5. 4 out of the 4 out of the 4 out of 5 times.
We hadn't lost to Chelsea for like maybe
I know,
5 or 6 games.
Hang on. What I'm saying, just that the 5 teams, the 5 times we played them that season, we won 4. The one time they did knocked us out of the Champions League. Now I'd rather have lost that in the Premier League, so that means we got through in the Champions League and we won the Champions League, because we would have won it if we got through that round. You really think we would have beaten Monaco and Porto in with that team? We would have slaughtered them. And but unfortunately, Mr. Wenger decided, the Invincible season's more important.
But we were told when we signed Ranieri by, believe it or not, an Italian psychologist who had studied football, and what she said was that when Ranieri was successful was when he went into a club and he always started off really, really well. And then it was the end of his second, going into his third season, when things started to go wrong. And she was so right. And I honestly think if we'd kept Ranieri, we would have gone down. I love the guy to bits. We should have a statue for him. I would have Ranieri's children, but we had to sack him. He had, you know, I love the guy for what he did for us, but it was going wrong after, you know, like you say, you know, bought Musa, who was faster than Vardy, and they was playing him on the wing. You know,
it was like in 2014. I'm in 2012 when he sold when Wenger sold Van Persie and made the statement about the top 40 trophy. Is when I turned. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. You won the league.
Yeah.
How can you now say top 40 trophy? And then it's like not forgetting what he's done, right? But you've got to go. It's time's done. Time's done. And unfortunately, he then decided I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. He took that instead when he won that left World Cup FA Cup against Hull. And we're like, well, go, just leave it. You've done what you've wanted to do, which is go out on a high. Just go.
Yeah.
And no, he kept it. He kept it. And then the squad got worse and worse and worse. And a lot of problems we find now are culminating of the fact he just stayed too damn long. And
Agreed.
um,
But the thing with Leicester was they let N'Golo Kante leave, and they had Champions League football, which they could never cope up with. I think Chris would agree with that.
N'Golo Kante he signed for Nigel Pearson. He was a Nigel Pearson signing. We then sacked Nigel Pearson because of the trouble with the players in Thailand, one of which was his son. And unfortunately, when we signed Kante, we didn't think what was going to happen, and he had a get-out clause in his contract. And unfortunately, N'Golo Kante, again, as nice a guy as he is, was putting his career first, and at that point, he could see that he could probably win more with Chelsea than he could do with Leicester, and in fairness, he has done. So I hated him at the time, Kante, because I do believe he was like a rat trying to leave a sinking ship. Whatever you say about Mahrez, and that's another story completely with how he's treated us and what he said about us. But at least he stayed. He gave us the Champions League year. And let's not forget, Arsene Wenger said we were going to be an embarrassment in Europe. We actually were the only English team or the only British team that made it to the quarterfinals. But yeah,
that shows how much Wenger knew at that point of time. But anyways,
you have to be careful, because you've got to be careful what you wish for. I used to actually work for Blackburn Rovers, and they had I think it was Sam Allardyce in charge at the time, and they were the mid-Premier League team at that point. They'd won the league earlier, years earlier. And Sam left, and they put in, I think it was Keane. They put in Keane. It was like one of Sam's lower staff and what have you. But the fans they didn't like the style of football he was playing. They felt they should be back up at the top, like when they won it, when they had Shearer, what have you. They wanted Allardyce out. They got their wish. The new owners that were chicken farmers, they came in, they got rid of Allardyce. They put Roy Keane in charge. They ended up in the third tier of British football. And they have never recovered from that. So you do have to be careful what you wish for.
I understand that. And I get that. But when I wanted Wenger out, we saw he finished then 5th. And then he was struggling in his last ever season. For me, it was, I'm sorry, but I get what you've done for this club. But I don't. When I looked at Arsenal growing up, and I've watched Arsenal in its history, we need to be starting thinking about trying to challenge again, trying to move forward again. And for me, that's why I can't accept top 4 as a trophy, and I can't accept you get it. It was getting worse. It was getting gradually worse and worse especially after that season of you winning it. The next season was not. It was worse. We were out of it by January. 16 to 2018, 17, 18, his last season, we weren't even challenging for the Champions League. We never did. Never did. And we were getting embarrassed left, right, and centre. And
the thing I just want to add is, one thing. I think Chris may agree. Yeah, last point. I won't stretch it. I think Chris may agree. If Arsenal had actually gone ahead and signed a proper striker in that January window, when Wenger came out and said that I don't need another striker, I'm happy with Yaya Sanogo, I think the title race would have actually been a title race rather than just a one-horse race. Because I heard a lot of fans criticize Olivier Giroud, but the thing was his backup was an injured Theo Walcott, and according to Wenger, it was Yaya Sanogo. I mean, if anyone saw Yaya Sanogo play, they would realize that this guy is not even good enough for the Championship or the League One. But
prefer to be a postman.
I have no idea why Wenger thought that he was good enough, or why he didn't at least speak against the owners and say that, okay, give me at least a decent striker. If you can't give me a top striker, at least give me a decent striker. I will challenge for the title and probably win it. Wenger had a lot of chances.
He never knew he had to use Giroud. Every time he used Giroud, he always played for the middle.
No,
as soon as he took him off, he
Giroud,
started putting balls in the box.
No, Giroud had that 16-17 run drought, before which the last season he had a 16-17 game continuous consecutive scoring run.
I get that, but he wasn't. He would have scored even more goals if he had kept playing balls in a box rather than playing for the damn middle. Right?
No, at that point of time, Giroud
not
wasn't
one
scoring.
to play for the middle. He's one to give service through the wings, right? And that's how Chelsea use him, and that's how he gets goals for Chelsea. Right? Chelsea all of a sudden when he went to Chelsea, he started scoring goals for fun.
No, just a quick point. That wasn't Giroud's fault. The play was similar to what it was when he was the top, like he was scoring for fun. But the thing was, every striker goes out of form. You need to have a backup. If you have an injured Theo Walcott and nobody like Yaya Sanogo, when the striker goes out of form, you either switch your substitute and you bring him in and say, you start the games, I'll get that guy on as a substitute, like Emery did with Aubameyang when he was not scoring. You do that. But eventually Wenger thought that Giroud was good enough to win him the league. He didn't want anyone. He backed the owners. He defended the owners. He said that I don't want anyone. And I think that Leicester City, as much as they were very good that season, they also need to credit Wenger and our board for that win. I'm just saying, in a pun way.
I don't know enough about the goings on within Arsenal Football Club to be able to comment on that.
Don't probably want to know. Anyway, we've come to the end, mate. But I tell you what, it's been nice to have a Leicester City fans' point of view. Like I said, that I'd love to at some point during the summer do a recap of years gone by and that epic Leicester win, because that was. We cover football here, and as a football fan, that was a real sort of fairy tale. I just loved it. We pushed you all the way to the end.
To be honest with you, I couldn't believe that season. I actually don't live in Leicester. I live down on the south coast, and during that season, we became a worldwide club. You know, I was getting calls from. I was doing Australian radio 1 minute. Canadian radio the next, then New Zealand. I mean, it was absolute. I was glad when the season was over and I could get my life back. But you know, we became, I think, almost everybody's second favourite team.
Yeah.
Nobody apart from Tottenham fans wanted Tottenham to win it. You know?
just adding one thing, Leicester is one of the reasons that Wenger Leicester is one of the reasons probably that Wenger had to leave Arsenal. Because if that season Arsenal had won it, I think Wenger would have been here for like another 5-10 years at least.
Oh, fucking hell, whenever the end of it for the Arsenal
exactly.
fans.
Exactly.
Anyway, but yeah.
I don't know whether you should be grateful to us or not for that. I'll leave that to you to decide. But definitely,
like we still got AKBs. There are Arteta knows best as well. So. And I still got a pain with them. But yeah, I would love to do a stream on that at some point. But anyway, we have come to the end, guys. We'll be making sure we'll plan that in the summer after the season's finished and we've got time. But yeah, thanks for everyone that's tuning in as usual. We're back tomorrow with the third episode of this. We're looking at Graham Potter as a manager and see if he's any good. And then we're going to look at if there's anyone that suggests anyone different, DM me, social links in below, DM me or leave it in the comments below, any suggestions of a manager that we should look at, because solid show, thank you very much. And yeah, you also leave any comments. Can we improve the streams anymore? Can we make it better and make it more professional? Just what we're trying to do and make it better quality for you guys. But yeah, we'll be back with that. We'll be back with Hot Off the Press show, and then we'll be back with a watch along for Chelsea versus Arsenal. Fucking Jesus.
Do us a favour, please. Do us a favour.
Don't ask Arsenal to do you a favour. Trust me, you could have done me a favour by winning winning the semi-final, but they didn't do that either. Anyway, we'll be back.
I want one favor. I want one favor from
God.
Esther. Please beat Chelsea. Thank you.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. Anyway, take care. See you later. Bye-bye.
All the best, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.